G'day, I'm Paul. The all-new Mercedes-Benz S-Class has just lobbed. Now, the S-Class is one of these cars that always debuts new features in the car world. So today I wanted to take you through 5 of the coolest features in the new S-Class and what we can expect in future Mercedes-Benz models down the track. Before we do that, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the new S-Class. Now, it starts off with W223. That's the code name for the short wheelbase. The long wheelbase is V223. It's going to launch with 2 petrol and 3 diesel engines. All of them are 3-litre, 6-cylinder engines, and they're all mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission with 48-volt mild hybrid technology. Only one of the diesels is rear-wheel drive, the rest are all-wheel drive. There is a V8 coming along with a plug-in hybrid that's expected to have 100 kilometres of driving range. And then in addition to that, down the track, I reckon we'll see some beastie AMG models, because that is what the S-Class has always been about. 4-wheel drive steering is on offer, and that improves your dynamic driving, but also reduces the turning circle by 1.9 metres. Stuff like this is important because you have to consider the size of the S-Class, especially with long wheelbase. They're often picking people up, having to do tight U-turns. 4-wheel steering will be completely invaluable to people who need tight parking ability. In addition to that, boot space is increased to 550 litres, which is an increase of around 10%. And it has the equal lowest coefficient of drag of any car on the market at 0.22. Now, if you do want a full breakdown of the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, you can click on the link up here, which will take you to the CarExpert website where you can get all of the details. But let's get cracking with 5 of the coolest features on the new S-Class. Let's start with digital lights. This takes the technology of the headlight even further. We've seen matrix LED, we've seen laser headlights, but the digital light is brand new to cars and is debuted here in the S-Class. Now, if you do want to see a comparison we shot between halogen LED, matrix LED, and laser headlights, you can use the link above there to take you through and have a look at that. But what is a digital light? Well, it takes the matrix LED light even further. The S-Class uses, as standard, an 84 LED module setup in the headlights, but the digital light comprises of 3 powerful LEDs with, get this, 1.3 million micro mirrors inside them. What does all that mean? Well, it means you have an effective resolution of 2.6 million pixels. Now, to put that into context and into something that's going to make sense, this right here, it is a graphics calculator. You may have used this in high school. This has an effective resolution of about 6,000 pixels. High definition television, that has about 2 million pixels. So the headlight in this car that's very compact and put into that small cross section within the actual headlight has over 2 million pixels available. What does all that allow you to do? Well, this is where it gets interesting, because it has a digital processor that's driven by a graphics card, and it has a constant video stream that comes through to the headlights. When the car approaches things like a roadworks zone, it allows it to project images out onto the road. You can project things like an excavator if you're in a roadworks zone. If you're in a narrow section of road, it'll project lines onto the road. And if there is a pedestrian up ahead that you don't see, it will start projecting little dots onto the road so it lights up the pedestrian. I mean, this type of stuff right here really takes the headlight game further, because you only have 84 pixels in a standard matrix LED headlight that's fitted to the car. So I don't know how useful this will be, whether it's just a lighting flex here from Mercedes-Benz, but I think it's really cool that they are pioneering headlights with this technology. Moving on to safety, this is something that Mercedes-Benz, I guess, prides themselves in, and often the S-Class is the first car to debut safety features that then filter down into cheaper Mercedes-Benz variants. Okay, so what about the overall structure? It's 60 kilograms lighter, and that's due to the overall use of aluminium, or aluminum if you're American. There's about 50% of aluminium used throughout the structure, and that is now strong enough to withstand impacts and also helps make the car lighter in general. But there's something inside the car that I need to share with you guys. It is a front airbag. I don't know, you're thinking, wow, front airbags, big deal. But it's a front airbag for the second row. So it fires from the back of the front seats and it creates a tubular structure. Now, the tubular structure is filled with compressed gas that fires from a cylinder within the seats, and it fills it with 16 litres of that gas so that it inflates quickly. And then inside the tubular structure, to give you an idea of the size of it, there's 70 litres of volume. and this can fill around other parts. So if you do have a baby seat or some other object in the second row, this will fill and then encase it with that tubular structure. Now, it is a really hard thing to get your head around, but it makes perfect sense when you think about it. If you have body parts moving around or someone that perhaps isn't wearing a seatbelt properly, it gives them something to hit before they hit the seat in front of them. So any chance you get to increase the padding and reduce the amount of velocity a person has as they fly around the cabin, the better. Now, where does all this come about? Well, it's ESF. It's the Experimental Safety Vehicle. Mercedes-Benz has generations of these cars from the early 70s that demonstrate safety features the company is testing. And last year I was in Stuttgart where they were showing some of this technology, and they showed us this airbag that inflates from a seat. And I thought, this looks really cool. And in fact, while we were there, just a fun side story, I had the chance to check out ESF 13, which was the 13th car that they built with some of this innovative safety tech. Now, it was built to withstand an impact from the rear of 80 kilometers an hour and a side impact of 25 kilometers an hour. Now, the only problem with being able to resist that kind of damage is that it increased weight in this car by 700 kilograms. It made the car a meter longer than it needed to be. It also meant most of the interior was covered in padding as well, so that if a person did get thrown around, they were just going to impact a soft surface. So some of these cars are a little bit unrealistic in terms of what they do, but they force the engineers to test their ability to come up with new technology. And that extends to a feature called pre-safe. Now, this was debuted in the E-Class, but they have now fitted it to the S-Class. It's a function that allows the side bolster in the seat to rapidly fire in the event of a side impact. In addition to that, the car is able to raise the side by 8 centimeters rapidly with an impending side impact. What that allows the car to do is distribute some of the forces in that impact to lower parts of the car that will better absorb crash forces instead of the thinner parts of the center door. And what about that side bolster? So this is going to get a little bit technical, but just bear with me for a second. So the formula for the average force is average force times distance equals half mass times velocity squared. So if the mass and the velocity are consistent, which we know they will be if you've got a car coming towards you, it weighs a certain amount, it moves at a certain velocity. If we were to change the distance though, you increase the distance, it reduces the amount of force that you feel on your body when that impact happens. So by firing the bolster in the seat, you're moving the human away from the force, and it means that you will feel less of that. So every centimeter counts when it comes to impacts in cars. And I love the fact that they are thinking about just even the most minor ways of getting a human better protected in the event of a side impact. Okay, let's have a look at the interior of the car. We'll start off with the sound system. The optional Burmester sound system has 31 speakers that create 4D sound. What is 4D sound? Well, that is getting an extra dimension in the sound sphere. And in this case, it is the dimension of feel. You are going to feel when you get punches of bass, when you get those high frequency tweets, and they use what they call exciters. They sit in the headrests of these seats and they're able to give you that sensation of your body shaking a bit. So if you do get a big bit of bass, you feel it through the body, and that makes your head think that it's more powerful than it is. So this is one of these features that they're adding to these cars to give you that immersive sound experience inside the car. So I'll be keen to see what that sounds like. 31 speakers is insane. I can't think of any other car that has such a high speaker count. It's almost like they're just trying to create a record here with the most amount of speakers they can, and I'm keen to see whether that 4D experience actually works. Next up is LED lighting. Often we talk about the amount of ambient LED lights you get in a cabin that allow you to make it all colourful and give it that dynamic atmosphere. Well, they have fitted 250 LEDs to the interior of the S-Class. Now, it uses something interesting. They're spaced 1.6 centimetres apart, and they're projected through fibre optics, which make them look like they're one continuous module and gives you that dynamic appearance. And the advantage of this technology is kind of on the safety front as well. Yes, you can customize them so they make the interior look and feel nice, but in terms of safety, if you go to open the door and there's a car coming or there's a cyclist or someone running, they're able to flash very quickly, get your attention fast as well, so that you can stop opening the door and you're not going to hit it into an unsuspecting cyclist or person running past your car. Now, the final cool feature in the new S-Class is MBUX 2. It is the second generation of Mercedes-Benz user experience. That is, I guess, the Mercedes-Benz terminology for their infotainment system. This will look completely different to any other Mercedes-Benz product because it's a new screen, a 12.8-inch screen. I don't have the exact dimensions, and it kind of looks like a portrait screen to start with, but it's quite rectangular in shape. It looks pretty impressive there inside the S-Class cabin, or does it? Let me know in the comments below whether you think it's overkill or do you think this will suit the S-Class over time. Now it's interesting because they've really beefed up the processing power here. So it has 50% increase in processing power. It's got memory bandwidth of just over 40,000 megabytes a second, and it means that it's smarter as well. It can process up to 30 languages, and it's able to use the cloud to help decipher what you're saying. So if you have a strong accent, or perhaps you're speaking in a language that they haven't fully developed, it actually processes it through the Mercedes-Benz cloud, and then that means it can customize the responses to you. It can also pick up new words and phrases. So if there's a new phrase or cool word like "that's rad," that could reappear, or one that I heard the other day, I had a mare of a week. I don't know, it's short for nightmare. So if these things become trendy and you come into your S-Class and say, look, I've had a mare of a day, please turn up the temperature inside the cabin, Mercedes-Benz user experience will know exactly what you're talking about, even if nobody else does. Then you've also got cool features like an interior assistant. Now this uses an overhead camera to watch you while you're driving and while you're sitting inside the car. And an example of where this is handy, if you look over your shoulder to look out the back window, it's able to lower the sun blind because it assumes that you want to see what's going on. If you want to adjust your mirror, all you do is look at the wing mirror you want to adjust and it will automatically select it so you can make that adjustment immediately without needing to do anything manually. So I guess it is a bit overkill, and I'm hoping it doesn't go down the path of things like gesture control in BMW. I find that technology absolutely useless. I get the feeling that this might be in the same case, but you never know, it might find a use for some people. All of this is controlled through a new 12.8-inch screen that uses OLED technology. So OLED is different to standard LED because it doesn't require backlighting. And what they've done is they've put multiple layers of these screens on top of each other to create a 3D look and feel. And they've also integrated haptic feedback. So as you push onto the screen, you get a little click on your finger. And they've also condensed all the buttons, so you don't have a litany of buttons in the center there. It's all kind of integrated into the screen. Also, as part of MBUX 2 is over-the-air updates. Now, Mercedes-Benz has made a big song and dance about these, but a lot of manufacturers have been doing this for a while, namely Tesla. You get new features overnight, and Mercedes-Benz is allowing you to update things in the car as time goes on. You can also add features through the store as well. If there's anything you want to add to your car that Mercedes-Benz has developed, you'll be able to download it through the store and pay where required. So that has been a quick look at the all-new Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Remember that we have a stack more detail at the CarExpert website. You can click on the link up there to be taken to our news article. Oh, by the way, there's a new key for the S-Class as well. This is what it looks like. I don't mind it. It looks very sharp and swish. So very big fan of that. Now, let me know what you think in the comments below about the all-new Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Do you think there's enough world-first technology in this car? Or have they dropped the ball a little bit? Let me know in the comments section below. Make sure you check out the rest of our channel and some of the other cool stuff we have there. And if you haven't done so already, I'd love it if you could hit the subscribe button. Press the like as well if you enjoyed this video, and also the bell icon so you can get notified every single time we publish a new video. But until next time, take it easy.